Today, we're diving into the history of the powerful Benin Kingdom. This is an incredible story about a new king whose reign was almost cut short before it even really began. It's a tale of royalty, of loyalty, and of a deadly threat that came not from some rival army, but from right inside the palace walls. So, a new king is on the throne, but believe me, this is no peaceful transition of power. We're talking about a time filled with hidden dangers and simmering plots. And really, the only thing standing between this young king and his own death, the watchful eye of his mother. All right, so who are the main players in this unfolding drama? Well, with one ruler gone, a whole new chapter is starting for his son, but this change brings with it both incredible promise and just immense danger. Okay, so let's break down this central dynamic. On one hand, you've got Oba Isigi. He's the new king, the rightful heir. But look at his mother, Queen Idia. She has this incredibly powerful title of her own, the Shield of the Throne. Now, that tells you she's way more than just a mom. She is a protector, a guardian for the entire kingdom. And believe me, that role as a shield, it was desperately needed. The whole transition of power was anything but smooth, and the new king found himself in a really dire situation. I mean, just let that sink in. This simple statement is actually pretty chilling. The threat wasn't coming from some distant kingdom. The enemies were everywhere, on all sides, maybe even within his own court. Can you just imagine the paranoia, the constant, nagging fear of betrayal that must have defined his first few days as king? And all that fear, it was about to become terrifyingly real. The threat wasn't going to come charging through the gates with swords drawn. No, it was going to arrive in a much quieter and honestly, a much more sinister way. So the stage is set. The palace is probably winding down for the evening, guards are at their posts, but the real danger is already moving through the halls. This is a totally normal, everyday thing, right? A servant attending to the king. Nothing about this moment would seem out of place to anyone watching, and that is exactly what makes it so incredibly dangerous. It's the perfect cover for an assassination. And there it is. The weapon of choice wasn't a dagger in the dark. It was a simple drink. It's silent, it's subtle, and if it works, it's tragically effective. The tension in that room was completely invisible, but absolutely lethal. But somebody was watching. Someone whose senses were sharpened by the constant threat that was hanging over her son. The Shield of the Throne was about to prove just how important she really was. And boom, this is the turning point. We don't know exactly what she saw, right? Was it a flicker of fear in the servant's eyes? A tiny tremble in his hand as he held the cup? Whatever it was, her instinct, that watchful eye, it just kicked right in. She didn't hesitate for a second. She acted. And there's the confirmation of her absolute worst fears. Her son, the king, was literally seconds away from being killed, and she was the only one who saw it coming. The quiet tension of that moment just shatters into a million pieces. You can just picture the chaos, right? The cup probably drops to the floor, the king is whisked away to safety, guards are swarming the room. Any sense of security in that palace is just gone, completely destroyed. The enemy wasn't outside the walls. They were inside, and they were wearing the face of a trusted servant. But, discovering the plot is one thing. Actually unmasking the person who was pulling the strings, that's another thing entirely. And in all that chaos, the one key to the entire conspiracy was about to just disappear. So in that moment of pure panic and confusion, the one person who could name the conspirators, he just vanishes. Was he helped? Did he have some pre-planned escape route? We don't know. Before Queen Idia could even point a finger, he just slipped away, taking the secret of who was really behind the whole plot with him. And that leaves us with the exact same question that must have echoed through the Benin Palace that night. Who was powerful enough to pull off an assassination attempt from the inside? Who had the most to gain if the king died? That servant, he was just a pawn. The real question is, who was the player?